I posted a interesting article on my Google Plus blog about that Amazon announces that ebooks outsells paper books, printed books now in UK. So ebooks outsells printed books in the UK, and that's quite interesting because I love the digital revolution and I love reading on my mobile devices. And that post on my Google Plus blog got a quite interesting discussion going on at the moment. Really intelligent comments and a lot of interesting stuff to read, so I will link to that post below this video in the description text. So go to that post and read all the interesting comments and join the discussion. Excuse me. Go to that post and join the discussion and read all interesting comments. About reading then. I have for many years stopped using printed media, printed books, printed magazine, printed news. I don't read that anymore for about 2 or 3 years. I only read on my iPhone, earlier also the iPad and my MacBook Air 11-inch. It's the only places I read, and I read everything there. I read books, I read magazines, I read news and so on, and I often use Twitter as a news source, but I don't read the post in Twitter directly often. Of course, Tweetbot, for example, on my iPhone can format the post with Instapaper Mobilizer directly in the app, and the post looks really great and you can enjoy reading it, but often I don't have the time to read a post at that moment. So I add all the links that I want to read to my Pocket account or Instapaper account before, but now I use Pocket. And all these links that I add to my Pocket account, they form my own magazine. I create my own magazine by doing that. So every night when I'm going to sleep, I lay on my side in my bed and reading my own magazine. I'm enjoying my Pocket magazine, and it works really, really great to do that. And by that I can read all the longer pieces that I've have no time to read directly and so on, and I get all the knowledge I need to be a tech guy. I can read everything I need to know. For example, specifications of a new gadget or something, a new Android phone or something. I can read about that every night in my own made magazine in Pocket on my iPhone. And that's how I do it. I use Twitter as a news source, adding all the links that I want to read to my Pocket account, reading them at night before I go to sleep. It works great for me. And I do that instead of reading news, papers, magazines and so on. And in fact, my Pocket magazines has even replaced much of my ebooks, because I read more tech news than books now. And I don't say that's a good thing, but that's how it have been for me. I read more tech news from web pages, blogs and so on, in my Pocket account. The article looks like books. The feeling is like reading ebooks and so on in Pocket. It feels like you read a real book, because everything distracted is removed. Ads, sidebars, blinking and flashing stuff and so on, when you add a link to Pocket. In Pocket there is only text and images, nothing else. So by doing your own magazine in Pocket, you only have the content you want to see in Pocket, nothing else. When it comes to ebooks, I usually use iBooks from Apple. Kind of cool to find all the free ebooks from iBooks creator that Apple released for around a year or so. Really cool to find a much fun stuff to read and watch and so on. Really cool. And of course I can buy books, and I can add a lot of free books that's available. I can also use Kindle, the Kindle app, to buy books in Amazon. I think I've read about 10 or 15 books on my iPhone, long novels, and it works really great. I prefer reading on my iPhone before my iPad, and I prefer reading on my iPhone instead of a real paper book, printed book, because the iPhone is easier to hold and the user experience is much better on an iPhone than on a book, because on an ebook, in my reading on my iPhone, I can look up words in a dictionary, and I can bookmark pages much easier, and I can even mark up some quotes and text and so on, much easier. And an ebook in Apple's own iBooks can even be visual made. You can even have videos in it and so on. Stuff can move around in it. So really cool. I think that's the future, having digital ebooks and magazines, reading on a mobile device or somehow a tablet. But as I've said many times, I prefer reading on my iPhone because the iPad is too big. That's why I sold my iPad. 9.7 inch is too big for reading comfortably. Holding an iPad when you're lying on your side in your bed is almost impossible. The iPad is too big for reading comfortably. That's a fact. Maybe a 7-inch iPad could be the perfect device for me, reading at night when lying in bed. I think that size could be the perfect size for a reading device, even for my Pocket magazines and directly in Twitter and so on.